Whether you like it or not, illegal foreigners in South Africa are here to stay. There's simply no political will to kick them out. The three biggest parties, the ANC, the DA, and the EFF, who control 90% of the National Assembly, are no rush to send anybody home. The EFF are, of course, Pan-Africanists who believe in open borders and a tighter integration of the African economy. The DA has said illegal foreigners, particularly Zimbabweans, play a huge role in the economy and have a right to be here. Helen Zille has said that the party believes in securing our borders and implementing stricter controls of who we allow into the country, but the DA does not believe in deporting those already here. The ANC, for their part, pretends to be doing something about illegal foreigners before every election, but ultimately never does. An example of the ANC pretending to do something is the white paper on citizenship, immigration and refugee protection, recently approved by Cabinet, which essentially says South Africa will withdraw from certain international conventions that deal with the status of refugees, but it doesn't say that anyone is being sent home. It's just another electioneering stunt meant to appease ANC voters who want illegal foreigners gone. South Africa does deport between 15 to 20,000 people per year, but that is a tiny fraction, probably less than 0.5% of the total number of illegal foreigners in the country. If the ANC wanted illegal foreigners gone, they would have done something about it by now. But they haven't, because the ANC cares deeply about their image on the world stage. They always want to be seen as being on the side of the downtrodden and the oppressed. And rounding up Zimbabweans in the middle of the night and marching them across the border at gunpoint isn't a good look for them. This is probably a good time to make two disclaimers. Firstly, I'm not in favor of illegal immigration, especially in a country like South Africa with a huge unemployment crisis. Any and all available jobs should be reserved for South Africans. Number two is that I know not all illegal foreigners in South Africa are from other African countries. We have tens of thousands of Europeans living illegally in this country. Some are digital nomads who overstay their holiday visas, and some are here for more nefarious reasons. There are also people from Pakistan, Bangladesh, and other Asian countries who have completely taken over the tuck shop industry, an industry which 20 years ago was firmly in the hands of South Africans. But I will say that illegal foreigners from other African countries probably have the biggest negative impact on the average South African. And this is because, unlike migrants from other continents, they're coming here to be waiters, cashiers, domestic workers, painters, petrol attendants, and the likes. These jobs were previously occupied by South Africans who were not fortunate enough to go to university or college. But now, poor and working class South Africans find themselves competing in the job market with the whole of Africa. Now, even though our current ruling class isn't interested in doing anything about illegal foreigners, we do have an election coming up later this month, which will definitely shake up our political landscape, with one party in particular taking an extraordinarily strong stance against illegal immigrants. That is, of course, the Patriotic Alliance, with their leader Gayton McKenzie saying on several occasions that those here illegally will be sent home after the elections on May 29. But will Gayton McKenzie actually be able to deport anyone? The answer is, of course, no. Gayton is banking on the possibility of the PA playing kingmaker status like they do in several municipalities around the country. But the dynamics in the rural Western Cape and the big metros are very different to dynamics on the national level. After the elections, the ANC is likely to land in the low 40s, and every indication points to them either choosing the DA or the EFF as a coalition partner. They will not need the PA. And even if they did, there's no way in hell they would just hand over SAPs and the SANDF to Gayton McKenzie so that he can use them to chase away millions of Nigerians and Zimbabweans. Things do not work that way. It would be one of the biggest humanitarian crises of our time. And the ANC, as evil as they are, purely from a PR perspective, would never allow that to happen on their watch. We don't know what the post-election government will look like, but we do know that at least one or two of the big three parties will form part of it. And neither of these three are going to allow the mass deportation of foreigners, especially African foreigners in the case of the EFF. The reality is that Zimbabweans, Malawians, Nigerians, Pakistanis, and European digital nomads are going to be here for many years to come. And if anyone tells you otherwise, they're either lying or they're seriously misinformed about the reality of the political dynamics in the country. I think the most we can hope for is a strengthening of our borders. With a competent government, whatever that may look like, we may be able to stop the flow of illegals into South Africa. But we need to accept the fact that the ones that are already here are here to stay.